Hello and welcome to my Capstone Symposium presentation. My name is Myrka Trejo, and the title of my poster is Greater than the Sum of Its Parts, Addressing the Fragmentation of Environmental Education. To continue solving the increasing environmental issues affecting living and non-living beings, we need not only an environmentally knowledgeable population, but an environmentally connected one as well. The most effective place to promote this learning and connection is early childhood education. However, our current educational system does not prioritize the environment to the extent of standardized core subjects such as math, English language arts, or social studies, which has led to largely ineffective teaching methods regarding nature. Therefore, this project explores the current state of environmental education and strategies that educators can implement to cultivate lifelong ecological stewardship. My primary research question was what are the limitations and best practices for making environmental education more effective in elementary school education? As an environmental education intern at Sound Salmon Solutions, I was able to observe, assist, and eventually lead lessons about Pacific salmon and watersheds for third and fourth grade students in public schools across King, Snohomish, and Skagit County. Secondly, I was able to create and distribute a bilingual survey for local Washington residents in order to gauge their environmental education experience throughout their K through 12 education. Lastly, I was able to review literature which focused on strategies to improve environmental learning through a systemic and collaborative approach. Moving on to results, I found three key limitations to environmental education. The first is chaperones versus co-educators. When I would travel to schools with educators from Sound Salmon Solutions, most, if not every lesson, consisted of classroom teachers deferring to us, the guest educators, for technical questions and lesson leading rather than co-teaching. This is consistent with research that has found that primary educators often lack both the professional development and confidence needed to teach environmental topics independently. The second limitation is isolation over integration. Oftentimes, when we would deliver lessons, it was apparent that environmental education was treated as a special event, learning about the environment for an hour out of the day, rather than being woven into daily learning in local schools. Research has shown that shorter and frequent lessons have the power to show an initial increase in curiosity and connectedness to nature. However, impacts struggle to last past the 4 to 6 week mark. The last limitation is the knowledge and connection gap. After conducting my survey, it was found that 96% of respondents reported feeling a personal connection to nature, and 91% identified as stewards. However, nearly half of the respondents reported receiving little to no formal K through 12 environmental education. This is consistent with research showing that pro-environmental identity is more strongly influenced by emotional connection and personal values rather than classroom-based environmental knowledge alone. Furthermore, I identified three key strategies to improve environmental education. The first is collaboration among classroom teachers and external environmental educators. This includes partnership in lesson planning, delivery, and post-lesson reflection. The second strategy is threading and embedding the environment into everyday learning as well as other core subjects. This includes expanding nature across disciplines in order to foster cross-referencing and systematic thinking. The last strategy is community-based lessons taught in local environments. This means prioritizing local ecological issues to promote informed empowerment and to minimize abstract learning. These findings are important because they identify areas of improvement for environmental programs, as they have not had too strong of an influence in environmental attitudes despite a strong increase in environmental programs across the United States. Making the environment a central pillar of knowledge rather than just a supplement reduces the otherness of nature. Lastly, children with holistic understandings of nature have the power to build future ways of living that prioritize a reciprocal relationship with the earth. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd like to give special thanks to Brittany, Megan, Susan, and everyone else at Sound Salmon Solutions for being so welcoming and so inspiring. Secondly, I'd like to thank Lubna for the guidance she provided me throughout the creation and synthesis of this project. And lastly, I'd like to thank my friends and family for the endless support, help, and encouragement, not only throughout this project, but throughout the entirety of my undergrad journey. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. Okay. Wait, that kind of hate. Okay.